Mark Anthony here for Sigma TV. I'm here together with Ulrik. He is the co-founder of Peanuds. How are you doing?
I'm super good. Good to be here.
Amazing. Glad to have you over here in the City of Dreams in Limassol. How do you find this integrated resort so far?
Well, I had a little bit difficulty getting here, basically with the parking signs and everything. But
Okay.
all in all, super impressed with what you've put together here. So great event so far.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love to hear that. Well, I'd like to. I have a few questions for you, just to better understand what it is the company's doing, and what it is you are bringing to this event this time around. Tell me a little bit about your core values.
Core values of the company,
Yes,
or
please.
my personal core values?
Well, you can elaborate on both because of course you bring that into your company.
I mean, I guess from a company level, I wouldn't say I despise the term core values, but it's something that's usually bloated, where you try to say that you're transparent, trustworthy, and honest, and doing good business. For me, that's kind of an assumption that any business should do. So I guess that's my core value, that you should do good, you should behave well, you should treat others like you want to be treated yourself. So,
brilliant.
I guess this is how I try to navigate through the world. This is my integrity.
I'm guessing you bring this into Peanuds as well, right?
For sure.
Okay.
I think, like, from an organization point of view, like for any business, it's like how the culture and how value sets in the culture, it typically flows from founding parties and from the top down. So I would like to hope that my own belief system is somehow rubbing off on Peanuds as well.
Most definitely. I mean, your drops turned into ripples, into waves. We all know about you now, so I'm sure those core values are working at their best. What issues do you think people are facing the most when dealing with their banking?
Oh, there's a number of issues that people face nowadays with banking. It's not as simple. It's simpler than it used to be in many ways. We have home banking, we can access it from anywhere, but the core functionality of that of a bank has changed a little bit. There was a director in a Danish bank that funnily quoted that we are a compliance company with a banking department. With that, I mean that banks have gone from doing very little compliance to maybe now that the pendulum may be swinging in the other way, to the point where they are doing extensive risk assessment on any client and profit assessment on any client. I remember one of the difficulties I had as a young entrepreneur, only 20-something years old in Denmark. I actually had difficulties getting a bank account for my company because the bank that I was engaging with there, they didn't really understand the business model of virtual reality, which was the business case at the time. And they said to me outright that, your business is really not good business for us, so we're sorry, but go elsewhere. This I find despicable. I mean, compliance is one thing. We all want to avoid money laundering and terrorist financing and all the bad things that are going around in the world, but basically preventing people from taking part in the modern economy by interacting through banking is despicable to me. Like the fact that banks are doing assessments on profitability on clients individually, I don't find that fair, and I think the banking model needs to change. I think the times where you are dependent on having a banking clerk, somewhere where you can go physically and get advice, that's not really what most people are looking for nowadays. And many businesses don't even need a credit. Like, how many businesses do you know in online agencies, e-commerce, crypto, gaming, that basically needs a credit line from their bank? No, they would probably be super happy just having a normal checking account where you get money in, and potentially you have a card associated. And this is essentially what we're trying to do at Peanuds. It's trying to simplify the process. We take a very minimum monthly fee, much like a Netflix subscription. And then you basically have access to banking with very low variable fees. And we try to structure a core package where you can have multi-currencies. You can do money in, you can do money out. You can get debit cards, both physical and virtual, on your accounts. And then we try to optimize the whole banking experience. So one thing I really find funny with banks is how they they fell super short on productivity. I mean, how much did your banking interface change during the last 10 years or the last 15 years? If Silicon Valley can make really outstanding user experiences, what prevents one of the oldest business models from doing that digitally as well? I'm surprised sometimes when I see interfaces in banking application. It feels like interacting with a system made in the 1990s. That's kind of the experience that you get. So we're trying to put in some productivity tools, like you have a full contact list, you can do recurring payments. We have in some intelligent, I want to call it AI, but really it's just in intelligent software that kind of just recognizes the patterns of how you pay. And if you're doing a monthly payment to the same employee every month, the system is going to prompt you and say, hey, can we potentially continue doing this? This is one of the features we're working on. So basically making life simpler for you while trying to give you less hassle. We see this as a subscription service. You basically buy access to a payment solution.
Brilliant. All you've told me so far, to my understanding, already sets you apart from the current competition. What do you think sets you apart, though, personally, what do you think sets Peanuds apart from this current counterparts?
Yes, so Peanuds is made from 3 founders that have a vast experience in technology and crypto, really working with, I have a background in, working with crypto companies for more than a decade now. I really know the struggles there. I have an education, not in economy or in finance, that is somewhat of a passion of mine, but my background really comes as a technologist, and I have been doing software as a service companies and stuff like this. So I basically come with a technology angle. I subscribe a lot to this Marc Andreessen famous quote that software is eating the world. I think a lot of the existing banks, they are basically living on borrowed time. I think that their current business model is going to be challenged in the future. I think people are not really asking for a lot of the old services that you would show up physically in a bank. I think there's a big room of opportunity, and this is one of the most growing sectors also in the whole payments industry, that you basically can do everything easier. It should be tailored to your actions. It should be an easier experience using banking. It should not be something dusty and old experience. It should be nifty, so to speak.
Thank you very much. Ulrik, I'd like to thank you very much for the time you've given me. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you found your parking. So what I do wish you is now happy networking. I hope you make the best out of this. I'm sure you have a lot you want to achieve out of these next 2 days. So I'll let you get to it. I'll see you on the floor. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
You too.